What is up, it's Kovian here. Welcome back to the channel. So this video is gonna be broken. Well, this video used to be one big video where I'm yapping about how to build her, including the review for her. Okay, so I've split it into, okay, I've split it into Holy Knight's Blessings. Gonna have a separate build guide, which is a video that's gonna come after this one, and then this video that you're watching now, it's actually the review for the unit. Okay, pretty good. Okay, so since we're starting with the review, let's just get into it. So what is Holy Knight's Blessing DIANNE? She is, by all intensive purposes, a buff ranger, right? What are buff rangers? Okay, let's talk about buff rangers. If you look at my latest PvE tier list, again, I'll update it end of January. There's a class of units that I have as S+, okay, and these are these buff rangers. Okay, they have similar buffs. They normally increase crit and damage. They do it in different ways. Valentine increases crit chance and increases crit damage. Tamara increases crit chance, increases crit damage, increases effectiveness. And Charlotte, instead of crit damage, increases the attack, but she also has this crit chance component to it. Now these units are there for a reason. They are S+ because they have carried us through the early game very valiantly. Okay, we can never, their contribution to the progress that we've made is unassailable. Okay, they have one problem though, one incy problem, even though still in the S+. When you get to the late game, you get to a point where your gear is good enough such that you can get your crit chance to 100 or close to 100. Okay, what do you do now? Those units start having one less useful buff, the crit chance buff. It becomes useless. So for some, like Valentine, they end up having skills that basically just give one buff. Because you have crit capped, you are at 100% crit chance. The crit chance buff becomes absolutely useless. They end up being crit damage buffers, right? And the new unit, Holy Knight's Blessing DIANNE, has come to solve that. Now the devs have seen this, not even a problem, have seen this occurrence, right? In the early game, we do need crit chance. It's actually kind of hard to get crit chance on all of your units because the devs, in the infinite wisdom, have made the same spot where you get penetration, where you get speed, where you create crit damage, to be the same spot where you get crit chance as well. Okay. I don't know how they decided this, but that's how it is. In which case, it's crit chance becomes a need in the early game. For you to deal big damage with your crit damage, you need crit chance, but it's hard to get. As soon as you start getting gems and talismans, you can start getting better and better crit chance. Okay, so now you've reached a point where your crit chance is at 100%. Okay, units like Tamara, units like Charlotte, units like Valentine. Again, if you go back here, I'm talking about these three, right? Valentine, these buffers, they have one less useful buff. Okay, they still do other stuff. They're not unilaterally like useless. They still do other stuff. But when you get to the point where the crit chance that they give is no longer working for you, you're gonna need an extra damage boost. And here comes in Holy Knight's Blessing DIANNE, who gives you the rest of the after crit chance, the rest of the remaining offensive buffs. She gives you attack buff, crit damage, accuracy, and speed. Okay, this is after you've traversed the early and mid game. You are in the late game, so she is that version of units, but for late game players, right? And the reason that is, it's three reasons, right? Reason number one is the intro to this video, is the reliance on crit chance. Holy Knight's Blessing is meant for late game players, right? And the devs recognize that we no longer need to put crit chance on these ranger supports. Okay, we no longer need to put crit chance, and they removed it. She instead gives attack, accuracy, which are more useful for late game players, right? That's number one. Number two, to what these units do is that most of them do not deal damage. In fact, all of the 3 rangers that I mentioned do not deal damage. Okay, they their skills are meant to be either buffer support or buffer debuffer. Okay, for example, Valentine is a buffer support. We sort of are okay with her not dealing damage because we know she is a priority controller. Okay, 25%, and then you have 20% priority increase with the first skill. We kind of made peace with the fact that, okay, she won't deal that much damage. She even has a non-damaging skill, but we do know that she will provide a bunch of support, right? Not only the buffs, but priority control. Okay, Tamara, she is a buffer debuffer. She has one of the most debilitating third skills, right? It reduces defense and then it increases cooldowns, so you are delaying bosses or any other unit from using its ultimate skills and its second skill for 1 turn. This gives you 1 more turn to either break the boss or just straight out kill it, because it's gonna be left with its basic skill only. This is very good, right? This is very good, and that's why we kind of accepted the fact, hey, they give crit chance, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. She gives crit chance, let's go. Okay, so we ran them for other stuff, right? Valentine for the priority push, and Tamara for the debuffs, and Charlotte as well, best mage support with priority push, right? She pushes herself, she pushes the mages, and then she gives accuracy and attack up, right? If you see, she give all of them will deal no damage. DIANNE deals a bunch of damage. In fact, again, if you go and watch the build guide, you can have her have 100% defense ignore. This is only true if you get a 6-star, because she gets this 30% defense ignore. You can run her on an accessory that ignores, that has penetration again, right? So it's 30 plus 36, that's 66. You can run the penetration set, which gives a 20% penetration, like ignore penetration to 20% penetration, which adds it to like 86. And then if you run her with like Vlada, Drakon, Demi Drakon can give her the buff for penetration, right? Which is 30%, which is way over 100 penetration. But she's not dependent on Vlada to do that. She is in fact self-dependent. If you best her to 3rd, she gives herself penetration, and her best 3 is actually kind of easy to get. Okay, it's very easy actually. So she can give herself penetration. So she does, while the others Tamara is a buffer debuffer, Valentine is a buffer priority control together with Charlotte. She is a buffer damage dealer. Okay, she deals so much damage. Her base multipliers are more than Notia, and Notia is the cleaver, right? Notia's damage in terms of like the skills, these multipliers are all lower than DIANNE, and that's probably because of the base penetration that she has, the 30% base penetration, and the fact that you can build her and use her in a way where she ignores all of defense. Okay, so she's kind of very good, right? So that's the second part. First part, she removes the need for crit chance because she understands that late game players have enough crit chance. Number 2, she is not a debuffer or a priority controller, but she is a damage dealer, which is very pretty good in all the late game. Let's think about all the late game bosses that we currently have. Okay, Adventure License is one of these modes. In Adventure License, you have 20 turns to kill the unit. Okay, 20 turns, right? And this is true for Adventure License. This is true for World Boss. If you come in here, if you go to World Boss, you have 15 turns. You even have less turns. Okay, you have 15 turns to kill the World Boss. Okay, and then that's your score. You are 10 locked in the new content, right? In Pursuit Operation, you have 20 turns capped. Okay, 20 turns capped. And the fact that you have that 10 cap is where DIANNE surpasses units like Valentine. Okay, because Valentine's buff skill is a non-attack skill, which means whenever you use this skill on Valentine, you are wasting a turn in those end game PvE modes, right? You are wasting a turn in order to get buffs. While she has skill that gives buffs, all of her skills are attack based. And remember, at this point, you can have her ignore 86% of the target's defense. So she's dealing high damage that ignores defense and also buffing. Very good for late game. The skill, this skill is kind of similar to Valentine's, right? She's gonna get all the buffs, right? If you have a 6-star, she's gonna have attack, crit damage, accuracy, and speed, right? She's gonna do this skill which is an attack, and then you can gain an extra turn. Very easy. And then you can do the third skill, which is also an attack. So both of her skills are attacks that deal a bunch of damage. This is where she gives everyone the buffs, and she deals the damage as well, right? So she fits well in these late game modes where you are time gated. 20 turns to kill, 15 turns to kill, right? Kill before X happens, break before X happens, break within the first 2 turns, right? Or it enrages, stuff like that. In that late game kind of sense, she's pretty good, right? Number 3, the third and I guess final way she separates herself from her sister rangers. Okay, again, she is just part of this class. Okay, these rangers that are S plus. Again, she removes the crit chance need, which we need in the early game, and that's why the sisters are not going away from S plus. We need those buffs in the early game. They are required, but we get to a point where we don't need the crit chance, right? Number 2, the damage dealt. She deals a bunch of damage, right? And third, right? Thirdly, compared to her sisters, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say she looks better. Oh my god! Wait, no. She's a limited hero. Okay, with her being a limited hero, it's kind of pivotal to have her, because if she's gonna be rerun, it's gonna be next year Christmas, right? Like, she's very Christmassy. Seasonal units most likely will just be rerun in their own seasons. Okay, this is her importance. Whether we like it or not, limited heroes are more important than non-limited heroes, right? Especially for endgame players, right? Let's say you agree to yourself that I am currently early game or mid game or wherever. Okay, you make that decision. Say, I'm early game, I'm not gonna summon for her. You're not gonna always be early game. In fact, if you're early game today, end of Feb, beginning of March, you'll be tackling all of this late game content. You'll be doing high levels of adventure license. You'll be doing extermination. You want to go to senior league for world boss. You do want to go there. You are going to say, damn, everyone in these content is using Holy Knight's DIANNE. Why did I miss her? Right? Why did I miss her? And you want to have a chance to get her in any other banner beside hers. You won't be spooked. You're going to have to wait for 2025 December. Guys, don't be those guys. If you are playing the game right now, summon Holy Knight's DIANNE, because it's not only about the late game content that we have now, is the late game content that is coming. We know for a fact there's one more content that is coming. Monad Gate. It's still on the way. It's either coming Jan or February. Okay. Monad Gate will need everyone to have stronger accounts. Okay. That's just the reality of it. You will need a stronger account, and DIANNE is a sign of a stronger account. Okay, you're gonna need her. She is, I'm gonna certified must summon. Okay, just for the fact that she is an upgrade to units that are already 6-star, that are already S+ on my tier list, right? These units are already S+ on my tier list. She is the late game version of these units. Now, they're not, again, I don't want you to think that she replaces them, because they play different roles, right? As I said, Tamara is a debuffer, while Holy Knight's Blessing DIANNE has 0 debuff capabilities. Okay? If you want priority control, you want your highest attacker to get a turn faster, Valentine is one, right? If that damage dealer is a mage, the best priority push she will get is from Charlotte. DIANNE cannot offer those things to your roster. But if you are bringing in these units for their buffs, for their damage buffs in the late game, she is unilaterally better than all of them combined. And it's for the 2 main reasons that I mentioned, right? It is the crit chance and the fact that they don't deal damage, but she does. And we live in an era where you don't need only to kill the bosses, but you need to kill the bosses fast. That is important. And in an age like that, the attack buff, the crit damage buff, the accuracy buff, and the speed buff are what's gonna allow you to kill the enemy faster than it can take any turns. And that's about it. Closing thoughts: 10 out of 10 looks, 10 out of 10 kit, must summon hero. Everyone in the late game, anyone who's not playing now is gonna be very sorry that they missed this here unit. Okay, that's my closing thoughts on it. That's my review of DIANNE. She is pretty good. Again, if you wanna see how you can build your DIANNE to be a successful PvE juggernaut, go and follow the link in the comments below, whereby that is the build guide. That is the build guide. Go to the build guide, watch the build guide, and see how you can make your DIANNE deal a bunch more damage than any other hero. I have been Kovian. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.